And
there we are. Now we're live.
There we go.
Are you still you're running a lot? I see every Facebook post I see from you. You're like doing some badass stuff.
Yeah, we today was a sort of an ad hoc half marathon, set a PR. So it was I headed out. I had some cereal.
Hold on. I think that's hilarious how you're like, today was an ad hoc half marathon. Like most people are like, I trained 6 months for a half marathon. You're like, today I didn't know what I was doing, so I just ran a half marathon.
I was like, I got to do at least 8, and then I got like 5 miles away. So I do this thing where like I'll run like far away from where I started, so I'm forced.
You have to get back. You have
so
to
I was
get
5.5 miles out, and I was like, well, shoot, if I'm gonna do 11, let me just take a right on this bridge, which I've never been before.
Gotta go explore. When you're running that far, that's one of the best things. You just get to go explore.
Yeah. So had fun with it. Ended up in North Minneapolis, which is a fun
then you got to run fast. Then you're running fast. Just for your life.
Really go. Oh, so it's funny because I'm just like I'm looking a little more careful. I'm like, and I know where I am at. Like I know it's not the place to be, but it's like, hey, explore some new areas. You know,
made it back.
So no, it was a great day.
How what the hell? Like when you run a half, I feel like if anybody else runs a half marathon, there's like days of recovery. I get the sense you're probably just going to run again tomorrow or do something tomorrow. Do you like build in a recovery time, or is your body just at the phase of like, no, this is just what we do and this is how we go and this is this pace that we go at?
Yeah, your body acclimates pretty. I'm not going to say quickly, but yeah, this like I was going to go work out at the gym after this to get my lift and other stuff in. But the big thing is the impact on the feet, and it depends on how fast you run. So if you're running like fast is relative to like what's fast for you, right? So if I'm running in an 8-minute mile, I'm hanging out. I'm doing my thing. Today was a little faster, so it creates a little bit more damage. There's things you can do.
Pounding the joints.
Yeah, you can shorten your stride. So like if you're longer stride, your heel will hit the ground and create more of like an impact versus if you shorten your stride, it'll be more under you, and so it's a little bit easier. Your higher repetitions or but yeah, those are all things that like you can do to adjust.
Are you like consciously doing that? Like if you feel like your legs getting sore while you're running, just kind of shorten the stride up and just chop a little bit?
Yeah, and so it's a higher rep rate, but it keeps your heart rate down for the same pace. And so I've been practicing that. That's what I've been practicing actually since last summer.
Shorten up the stride because you're kind of a lanky dude. You're a lanky dude.
I'm a noodle.
Yeah.
So
but,
yeah,
you've been lifting a lot too. Do you lift every day and run every day? Is that kind of like the cadence for you?
I do strength style workouts. So like for the high rock stuff, there's a lot of the strength stuff is sled push, a lot of lunges. So I'm to the point where like I used to do like 10 body weight lunges, and you know I'd be like fried, like lactic acid, couldn't do it. Now I can do 90 pounds on the back for 30 reps, and that's when I'm breathing hard after that. But like I'll get up and I'll do 3 or 4 rounds of that now. So
we're going speed round here. Give me your 3 top like lifts / body weight. Like if you got to do 3 things and you had to do them over and over and over again, what would be your top 3 things?
Basically what I do, I run a lot. So for non-running stuff, it's still heavy cardio. So a lot of rowing, a lot of skiing, and then a lot of lunges are likely. Those are the things I do a lot of. Wall balls suck. It's a 20-pound wall ball, and you have to throw it up 10 feet. Those I need to work on.
That's a long way to throw 20 pounds. 10 feet is a long way to throw
100 times.
That's everything you named is stuff that I try to avoid at all costs. So I agree. Yeah,
it's fun. It's been a fun progression from not working out at all, starting in 2024, and then I hopped on 75 hard and just ripped 2-a-days for like 150 days straight, almost. I think 135 straight.
You haven't slowed down. I feel like most people that do 75 hard, I watch them like stop and then like and
fall off a cliff.
You've kept speeding up. You're just like, well, why stop here?
Yeah,
like, and I'm just getting started.
I basically said like I don't need 75 hard anymore because from a standpoint of like the standard is that I'm doing that, and sometimes it's actually better. Like today, I don't want to do 2 workouts. I did, but I would have had a time a little bit better. It's now a matter of like, okay, if I tried to force 2 workouts, I'm gonna make it tougher to work out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep it
so
where you still love it, because then,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you keep coming back.
and then it's beneficial for the body. Like in the summer, I was overtraining, and I would do this, and then I'd run 10 miles tomorrow and 10 miles the next day, and then I would just beat the body up to the point where it just starts breaking. But when you're this young, you can just break your body, and 3 days later, you're good.
Let's
So
say, how old are you right now?
26.
Yeah, like
So
at 40, I have noticed, and I still like I don't age is no excuse. Like
yeah,
I got my 3 miles in over lunch day. I kept it
yeah,
under 8.5, like 8.5. I feel like at
that's a
40,
great.
still doing it.
Yeah,
And I'm getting out of ice fishing season, so I'm usually like this is when I've got a good 20 extra pounds that I'm hauling around intentionally. You
yeah, oh yeah.
can't make a big comeback if you don't fall way behind. You gotta
There
put
you
some
go.
miles on.
You gotta get on that. You gotta have a big progress curve every spring.
Yeah, all the more motivation to get out there. And actually, as you know, the last couple days have been really nice. I got my first
Yeah,
2 like outdoor runs in here. I know you're a crazy badass. You're like running all winter long. I'm like waiting for the roads to clear up. So the last 2 days were my first 2 like
oh
outdoor
yeah.
runs. Feeling good
It's
about it.
when it was icy out, like it sucks. Like it's actually it sucks not just from the mental standpoint, but like you're worried about breaking an ankle. Like we're running on ice. There's ice sheets, and the worst is when you get like slushy snow with a bunch of footprints in it, and then that freezes, and then you're running on top of
Oh,
that.
just ankle breakers, man.
Yeah,
Ankle
oh yeah. So it's how was your ice fishing season? Was that I've to be honest, I have only ice fished one time ever. Twice, maybe twice.
I ice fished one time like a weekend ago, and
Yeah,
then the one time the weekend before. Tor was with me the last time I went. He flew in from
yeah.
Connecticut. He says we are never out of ice fishing season. Uh, it was a good time, but we had like a business owner event. Like I flew some
Mhm.
buddies in and business guys, and so we were out ice fishing with in the fish house way like up north at Red Lake.
Oh yeah,
And I'll say my season was good in that we upgraded the fish house. Had the old fish
sweet.
house. When we got out there for New Year's, there was mice shit and piss in it. And then the furnace went out like 2 days. So we
Oh
got all that cleaned up. It still kind of gives you the EBGBs. And
yeah,
then furnace went out like the second night, and it's 10 years old, and the furnace goes out every winter, and we have to fix it.
yeah,
My buddy who was with who owns a sewer and drain cleaning business here was like, Dan, I love you, but I'm never touching your furnace again. Because every time, like we're always out together, and
yeah.
every time it's like, hey Ben, you want to come look at this furnace with me? It went out last night.
Mhm.
Uh, so we upgraded the fish house. That was nice, and got a few runs with the family, got a few runs with friends. It was a
Sweet.
win.
That's
Got
a good that's
it's a business fish house. I got Starlink for it, and we're doing business
ooh,
stuff. And I like I always take a couple calls from there on the weekend, so it's a
yeah.
business fish
You
house.
should do a podcast from there. Just like, who are the Midwest podcaster dudes? They've got brand deals. They actually were on the, Nicolette Law commercial
Oh
in the
yeah,
Super
yeah.
Bowl.
Charlie Barons and the Bush Light guy. We could
Yeah,
be that.
yeah.
Do that.
You could do
Yeah.
an ice fish house, just podcast, just hanging out. I mean,
I thought
I've
about
never.
I thought about bringing the stuff with when we got a bunch of business owners out there. Like it'd be kind of
Yeah,
fun, but it gets pretty rowdy. Gets pretty rowdy. I think it'd be
it's a good
tough to like keep focused. Uh, it would make for a pure entertainment podcast, but
It'd be
uh,
like a Protect Our Parks Midwest edition. I don't know if you've seen that on Rogan, where they all just get hammered and take mushrooms and
that
like.
would that I think it would have had that vibe. I think it would have had that vibe.
Might have had to go back and do some editing, some selective editing. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this show, like, we just do it live because it's more fun that way. Then we get
yeah,
Barry Little's checking in, wants to know what kind of shenanigans we're up to. We got Darlene checking in. 51 is creaky, but I move the best I can. No running ice for me.
oh yeah,
I was gonna ask you, do you wear
yeah,
like cleats when you run in the winter, or are you just going regular running shoes and just like being extra freaking diligent with your step?
yeah. I normally extra just normal running shoes, Hoka's, and then I do have 2 pairs of like trail running shoes. They have a little bit more grip on the base.
Yeah.
If it's really bad, I'll wear those. I set a few PRs in those last summer actually, and they're not like traditional running shoes, so um, they're better for like if you're on a trail or dirt or ice too. If you're on sheer ice though, just just watch out.
It's just
So
bad. Tor goes with the barefoot. He's running so fast, the heat on his feet actually melt the ice a little bit. It gives a little extra cushion.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I actually never run in the barefoot shoes. I did like a 4 or 5 miler barefoot, and my feet were like, but actually barefoot, not with the barefoot shoes.
Yeah.
And that was a trail run, 4 to 5, and I will never do that again.
Like,
I gotta warm up to it.
Was it a bottom of the foot issue? Was it a just lack of cushion issue, or a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
all the above?
It was in the I was actually up at the Apostle Islands, and first of all, I had not done any research. This is in October. We go up there.
Sounds chilly.
It actually wasn't too bad. It's if you go to my Instagram, there's a video. I went with my girlfriend and we camped out, took our jet ski up there, figured out after the fact that the jet skis aren't allowed. Oops. Also on the way back, ran out of gas, so we had to call the Coast Guard. That was 100%, my bad for not me and my dad have religiously filled like the jet skis every time we're done, they get filled. It's just the process. The one time it didn't
The
get
one
filled.
time you didn't was when you
And
were
I'm
out at
thinking
the Apostle
these islands are like, little islands that, we could hop
yeah, they're
to, whatever. We were
Yeah.
20 miles out. We packed this jet ski to the brim. I had my drone like on my lap as I'm on the jet ski. Whatever. Long story short, that hike, we did a hike around one of the islands that ended up being like 4 miles. It was sort of like a jog hike. The amount of acorns, sticks. I came back and I don't know if you've ever had like so much stimulus on like hands or feet that you can't feel them, or they're just like, I don't know what you call it, but it's just like overstimmed. It was like 3 days that I just couldn't feel my feet. So
It sounds like I've kind of had that hunting before when it gets really cold, but it sounds like when you fall asleep funny on your arm and your whole arm is like totally like limp from lack of blood.
it
Sounds
was like that for 3 days on the. But you're right. It was the base of the foot from just like so much. We're spoiled. We're spoiled
Not
with
used
nice
to that rub.
shoes. No, we're spoiled with nice. I think about it, like we're spoiled with such nice shoes, and like rarely do people ever sit their feet actually on the ground unless you're on a beach or doing something like that. But
oh yeah, even now, like if my bare feet touch the ground, I'm just like, ooh, like it's either too hot or too cold or too rough or too slippery. I can't handle it. Wimp.
What's the Bears? The porridge. It's just right.
That's right.
Too hot, too cold.
Gotta be
Put
just
those
right.
running shoes on. It's just right.
I feel like all apparel is that now though, because like people that don't live here, and when I tell them I'm going ice fishing, they're like, "What? You go out there?" And I'm like, I'm warmer than you are when it gets like a little cold out where you. If it gets 60 where you are, you're colder than I am when it's 10 below. Like we know how to dress for this stuff.
We hunt every fall. We have a hunting camp. So we have like a 4 or 5 outfitters tents, and there's one year where it was 98 degrees inside because I didn't shut the baffle.
Oh
so
yeah,
it was just rolling, and it was -8 outside and 95 inside. I mean, it's like 100+ degree delta.
Damn your sauna level. You're going for sauna level. Everybody's just uncomfortable. Nobody can sleep.
Oh yeah,
it's too hot there.
Sorry guys. Oops. But no, it's been good. But yeah, what else is new with you?
Well, Tor chimed in. He said, if you're gonna do it barefoot, I think he meant it's the bourbon, but he must be into the bourbon because he said the bourbon, so he might be a bourbon or two in.
Little bourbon typo.
Yeah, Darlene said she walked barefoot on the driveway the other day, realized they make shoes for a reason. So
oh yeah, that's especially if you have like an old concrete driveway where like the aggregates like coming through, and then you get one little rock there, and you very quickly realize like
yeah, there's an acclimation to that is probably months or years long to be stable on a barefoot.
There's a guy there's this group we were part of called the training group, and it ran out of primarily Highland Hills area. A bunch of people in cities would come down there, and it was an hour. It's supposed to be the hardest workout of your week, and so no electronics. So you take all your watches off, take everything off, and then you just do a trail run lap for an hour, and you can't stop. Otherwise, you have to go home. So if you stop, you get pulled, and then you have to go home. One of the best workouts ever. It's just basically an hour grind. But one of the guys there did it barefoot, and it was over the train tracks, which has all like the crushed
Oh
eggs.
yeah,
So kudos to him for doing that
that's
and
rough.
keeping a pretty good pace during it too. But
Hell yeah.
it's good.
There so much of that too is just like mental strength of
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
knowing what your body can handle. I feel like that's most of exercise is just really mental strength
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable for an extended period of time. But
Yeah.
it takes a build up. It takes a build up
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, and just uncomfortable. You learn. I've learned, like, I can tell you without electronics what pace I'm at. I can tell you, probably within a pretty damn close, like where my heart rate's at. I can tell you how long I can go at that effort. Um, it's you do something so many times with so many reps.
Mhm.
You have so many data points just in your brain, and a lot of that is just feel. And then obviously, if you have watches and stuff like that, you base that feel with a data point, and then you have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
Um, I'm relatively analytical, both on running, but
Naturally.
certainly on
Naturally.
business and
On everything.
everything. So it's yeah, it's been good. But yeah,
Let me hit you with this because I want to go like back in time to catch up on
yeah,
time because there's a story that I know, but I don't know all of it.
yep,
And I think our listeners would be like fascinated by how the hell a 26-year-old is sitting here and has done all the things that you've done already. You've accomplished more and like exited more than most people would dream of doing in their life. And I think that's pretty astounding. And I get the feeling you're probably not done yet. And
yeah,
I truly don't like, I haven't talked
yeah.
to you in over a year. So I want to like get caught up on what the heck you're up to now, but take us like back. You had a landscaping business. I don't think you
Mhm,
have it anymore, but I want to hear that story.
yep,
Take us back to like how the hell you got into home services, how
yeah,
that all started. I know you had some partner things go sideways and some other things go sideways, like as you were scaling up a massive business. So
yeah.
take us like kind of on a timeline through the history of your business. And I'm going to interrupt you like 1,000 times with questions or comments or whatever, but bear with me while I interrupt you and
Yeah,
take us
yeah,
back in
that's
time.
sweet. Okay, so back in 2013, so my age is basically the year. So I was 13 years old in 2013.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
convenient for you guys. That's
it's
pretty
very easy.
convenient for all you century babies like that.
I was 99er, so I'm not a 2000. I feel like if someone's born in 2000, like, oh, you're so young.
Such a
Uh,
baby.
I was 4 months away from it, August. So, actually, not even August 20th. Three months and
Basically
10
3
days.
months. Yeah, but you were just rounding up because it sounded cooler.
Yeah, that beat the century, so we're good. But back in 2013, I was a ski racer, and why that's relevant is I ski raced at a relatively high level around the country, but went to Austria a few times for different races and training camps. Um, and I went to Mount Hood for one training camp, and at that training camp, I met a father-son duo who were highly successful. I think I was 13, he was 15, and he was like graduating high school or something like that. His dad was very successful in business. They had a really strong relationship. And it was one of those moments where, like, I know I'm only 13, but I was like, oh my God, like, I need to do something with my life. Um,
How did I get here? What have I
yeah, I
done?
was like, wow, I'm way behind the curve. So went home from that camp from Mount Hood, Oregon. Got home. I actually put it together a quarter-page flyer, and I actually just found it today. Um, it was a quarter-page flyer. Basically said, "Hey, I'm Jack Hartigan. I'll do anything for $10 an hour." I gave that out to all of my
You gotta be careful with that these days. You gotta be careful
today.
with something like
Today,
that these
different
days.
connotation. Back in 2013, no predators in our neighborhood. We were good. No mysterious calls. Uh, so the requests I got were appropriate for the advertisement that I had put out, and yeah, I just started doing like weeding. I did. I picked up rocks for one of our neighbor because he had this trail that goes like through his backwoods, and he would walk his dogs on it in the winter. And in the winter, he'd have to snow blow it, so he didn't want any rocks on the trails. So I spent a day picking up rocks
Pick up the
on a
rocks.
trail,
There you go.
and I got paid for it. So I didn't. Whatever. I just wanted money.
Yeah.
Uh, I power washed his deck. His deck took 35 hours to power wash. He was extraordinarily particular about it. I had to be a particular, I'd be so close, certain nozzle. My back hurt so bad after that one.
That's a lot of washing,
Um,
man. That's a lot of
yeah.
washing.
Same client who let me drive his Hellcat back when they had just come out. I was 16. He let me drive his Hellcat, and we hit like 165 miles an hour. He said, "Just go until you don't want to go anymore, and then let off." And I was like, "Sweet,
Yeah, here we go.
let's do this thing." So from 13, 14, 15, first year did 3,500 bucks, which means I worked about 350 hours that summer. I got heat stroke twice. I had this illusion that like if I stopped for lunch, they'd think I'm lazy, even though it was like 89 degrees humid and I was cutting buckthorn. My first big job was buckthorn, so we had a few.
That's big.
We all lived on 5-acre lots, and one of our neighbors had a huge hill going down to the lake, and they wanted to see the lake. So I got my first check. It was $710. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe someone has this much money. Like, this is great. And they're on the other side of the equation. Like, I just got the best
I
deal
can't
of my
believe
life.
for 700 bucks somebody cleared that hill. That would have cost me thousands of dollars.
It would have been a $5,000 to $8,000 job
Oh yeah,
with the brush
with
like
equipment.
no parts. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. 13-year-old, 14-year-old is just like, yeah, I'll do it. No taxes though, so who cares? So did that, and then so 13, 14, 15 continued to grow, and hired a friend my second year named Will. He and I went out second year. I charged 10, paid 10, and then I slowly realized I could charge 12, pay 10, charge 15, pay 10. So those are all early lessons I learned. And then my brother would drive me around to my first 7 lawns in 2015. Those were all somewhat local, but at that time, I was doing door hangers. I posted on Nextdoor, and when I was 16, things started to grow. So the growth curve was like 3,500 bucks the first year, 12 and a half, and then we jumped to 40. And then when I posted on Nextdoor, we went from 40 to 120, 120 to
Are you
quarter
still in high
million.
school at this time?
Yeah, I graduated high school 2018, and we were at 780,000 in revenue at the time.
That's
So
crazy. That
we
is
were,
absolutely crazy.
it was chaos. I mean, it was a bit of chaos because I was working. I mean, working all day in school, every moment outside of school. I cannot tell you that it was a good mental. I'm not here like to preach about mental health, but it was not good for the stress level.
Did you? I assume you didn't play any sports or anything like that. You wouldn't have had freaking time to play any sports. Did you
Ski
do anything?
race and played football. Yeah, so
No
I like
shit.
every
And
moment outside. Hmm
how
So
many hours a night would you sleep? Were you sleeping like 4 hours a
four,
night to be to
yeah,
do
I'd be up till like when I would get into Spanish class, my junior senior year, I had Spanish hour one, and at some point the teacher was just like I would just I'd be late, and he would just be like, "Hey, hola, Julio," uh, and it just became a norm where I was just getting the guys set up, running like had to. I'm 5 minutes late and crazy. The administrators at some point, gave up on treating it as a punishment, and I was like, "Well, I got to get the guys out in the morning." I just told
I
him, I'm
got
like,
a
"I got to get
business
the
to run.
guys out.
I gotta
I got money to make." Like you, and it's like haven't met a 16-year-old with that issue, but um
never let school get in the way of good education. That's what they say,
oof,
right?
I preach on that. So then, keep the long story short, basically, finished high school. Did not want to go to college. I was pretty adamant that I hated. I love learning, absolutely love learning. Hated the classroom. Um, Too often, you're stuck reading books that you don't want to read. When I ask a question to a teacher and they cannot answer why I'm learning that in a realistic, applicable manner, meaning
Yeah, you lose confidence real quick.
I was like, okay, then why? What are we doing here? What are we? So that was a huge transition point for me. Took a year off, lived in Telluride, Colorado, ran the business from Colorado. I worked as like a busboy or a runner, so I just brought the food out to people. Ski raced, or sorry, just skied in the mountains. I call it high end ski bumming because Telluride's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't make any money. Like my check for, I remember getting the check. My check was like 250 bucks for 2 weeks of work, and I was working like 6 or 8 hours a day. And I was like, this is a joke. Because in Colorado, if you're tipped if you're a tip worker, they only have to pay you like $7 an hour.
Oh
And
yeah.
so whatever that is,
Yeah,
7
you get
times
hopefully some
6
tips.
is $42 a night. So maybe it was for a week, but it was like $250 for a week of work. And we had some tips on top of that, but then you get, yeah, whatever. So lived in Colorado for 3, 4 months, ran it. Um, and then, yeah, I vividly remember, buying our third truck at the time. Um, and then I called Madison. So I went to Madison for college, called them, said, "Hey, I'm ready to go, like ready to accept my deferral." And they're like, "Well, we canceled your deferral." And I was like,
Oh,
that's weird.
interesting.
You didn't notify me of this. Um, so got back home, was planning on like applying for college for that fall, and ended up having to take 15 credits. So this is again another compounding of time. I had to take 9 credits that summer, 15 credits that fall, and then I moved to Madison, ran the business virtually, and then
Were
I
they
made that.
were they like college credits that you just had to take online or something to like get going, or what credits were they?
They basically like if they void your deferral, you have to take like a year of class before you can come back and reapply. And
Okay.
so my only option was, well, if I start in the fall and then go in the spring, like I'd have to go to the local community college or somewhere and
Mhm.
take 24 credits in order to get back. Um, so I just grinded out that summer, that fall, and then reapplied to Madison while I already lived down there. I just said, screw it. I'm gonna get back in. I'm gonna be fine. Live down
Were
there.
you still I assume your business was here in the Twin Cities though. Were you
Yeah.
still running your business at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Was your buddy running it, or like how did you manage it remotely from there?
I had one good dude back home that was able to run most of the operation. Was trustworthy dude. So we had about 3 to 4 guys running in the fall for fall cleanups. We had finishing up some landscape projects. I was back rarely was it every weekend. Sometimes it was back to back weekends. Mostly every other weekend, I would do that 4 hours door to door. So I'd leave at like Friday at 3, get home at 7,
Good
wake
old
up.
Highway 94, just trucking
Oh yeah,
94,
a lot of cruise control happening, just hanging out.
watching
But
for
yeah,
deer. I always gotta watch
yeah,
for
I
deer
didn't.
on 94.
Yeah, I hit a deer on 94, but not when I was going to Madison. But yeah, so did that. We got 6 weeks of in class, so basically got accepted. 6 weeks, COVID hit, no more class. Great, we're
Oh, yeah,
back to
I
online
suppose it was,
school.
like, right at COVID.
It sucked. I actually, so I've only ever done 6 weeks of in person college. Everything else was um, virtual. So
Which in a way, did that help you scale your business because you could do college remotely? Like, you didn't have to physically be there, so you could push more on the business?
yes, except for the fact that I wasn't there for the education. I was there for the people. Like I wanted to just meet people and expand their horizons.
Yeah, yeah.
I had done so much online school that it's like if I'm going to be going to Madison, like the whole point is to like
To go to
get the
Madison, not to do
experience.
Madison online, yeah.
Yeah, but when I talk about college experience, like um, I think it was extremely beneficial for like some of my best friends now are from that period of time. But if you talk about like the actual like memories I made, very few and far between because I was gone for every important weekend,
Yeah,
with the exception of a few. The big thing was like you miss out on the hangouts or the little events. If I'm gone at home, like someone's having 10 people over, and that's just a good time to connect with people. And
yep.
so I gave up a lot of those moments for work. I certainly don't regret it because I am where I am today, and I would prefer this position over where my peers ended up for the most part. So uh, was there 6 weeks college, kept that rolling, kept basically growing the business. Decided in 2020 when COVID hit that I didn't really want to like do college anymore, and I was pretty adamant about it.
Yeah.
But I had made an agreement with my parents that I would finish, so I figured it out. I was so stressed though. I mean, like level 12 out of 10, like it was not it was not a pretty scene.
Did you stay
Um,
in Madison, though? Did you stay down in Madison doing, like, remote college work from Madison just to still be in Madison, or
mhm.
did you move back to Minneapolis?
Yeah, no, I stayed down there for the first for that first one. And then I took another, so I took that spring semester down there doing, because that was when everything was transitioning to virtual. So all the classes were like dumb easy because every professor had never, no
Yeah,
professors
nobody
had
knew what
done.
the hell they were doing.
Yeah, so you're getting these like I finished my real estate class in 2 weeks. So I finished all of the stuff they gave us because there wasn't like block timelines. Because a lot of people, like a lot of professors, they'll like, you can't take a quiz until this date, right? So it sort of
Yep.
like
Yeah, they
freezes you.
stretch it out. Yep.
This one, I was like, screw it, I can get the whole thing done. I submitted every paper,
Take it out.
submitted all. I for like 8 hours a day for like 3 days. I finished half the class.
Well, and then you're in the real estate zone. So like, why put
Yeah,
it down and pick it back up again when your brain's working on it and it's all fresh? Like, just go.
yeah. And like St. John, so my brother went to St. John's up in northern Minnesota, and that's what they would do. So you would have, I don't know what it is, 4 or 6 week chunks where you'd take 2 classes. And then your next 2 classes you'd take, but you're going to that class every day instead of like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah,
I
just
thought that was personally
control.
way better because you're soaking it up every day. It's not like, oh my God, what did we go over 8 days ago?
Mhm.
Or this test is 5 weeks removed from the first piece of content. Now we got to recycle it in addition to the other 4 or 5 classes I'm taking. So to get back on sort of the business journey, I'm doing school, doing that stuff while I do that, and then basically decided to double down. So I was at an inflection point where I was like, I don't really want to do Wall Street. I was on the finance track, and
What size of business? Like, how many employees? How much revenue? When you had this kind of internal ultimatum?
yeah, so we 780,000, and then in 2020 we did 1.9. So we had a huge jump
Yep.
there because I basically decided every dime that I had at the time, which transparently is about $300,000, I basically said, I'm dumping this back into the business. I'm going to let it roll.
Going.
And so I took a trip down to Mexico City, winter of 2020 into 21. So that off season, hired a buddy to come help me, hire people and make stuff happen. So we made our first 2 big hires. We went from like high school kids down the street type deal to real landscape company in my brain. And we were
Mhm.
doing legit great work before that. But in my brain, it's just like, I want to move to the next league. So we made that 780 to 19, 19 to 32.
What was the most, like, I present on this. I literally was just at a power washing convention. Jason, I saw you jumped in my personal chat here. JDS, Jason, Kim, you're in there. I see you in there. Scroll all the way up in the comment section and click on the link to the Best Damn Bookkeeping page, because then when you comment, I can put it on the screen and Jack and I can BS with you. I can't. StreamYard and Facebook aren't buddies, so I can't put it on the screen if you comment on my personal page. But if you go into the business page, which I think I pinned it at the top, jump over in there and throw your comments and questions and thumbs ups and whatever, and we'll throw it on the screen. But
Yeah.
I was just at a conference with Jason, which is why I thought of that. And that was one of the things I was talking about is you hit these, like, I call them purgatories in scaling a business, where you just hit sticky spots. You did what I coach people to do, which is get the fuck through it as fast as you can, because it's painful and it's expensive. Like, you don't want to hang out at $1,000,000. That sucks. Like, $1,000,000 business is really hard to run. You got to get through that as fast as possible. $3,000,000 gets tricky again. $5,000,000 gets tricky again. Did you like, you went past 1,000,000 so fast, then you went to 3,000,000 so fast? Did you feel those, like, those spots in the mud? And yours might have been, different revenue levels or whatever, but what were those, like I said, purgatories? Here's Jason. Now Jason's in the house. He's in the right spot.
There you go.
Welcome.
Bunch of emojis. I like it.
What like, take us through a couple of your pain points along that, like, boom, boom, like, those are huge jumps. I'm guessing they weren't easy.
I would just, the honest truth is, it all sucked. Like, it is, your pain tolerance has to be high. We were doubling every year, so like I don't think we had less than a 200% growth year until we hit that 19, and then from 19 we went sub 100% growth, and I was thinking I sucked. You know, but learning very quickly that, like, that was just not sustainable.
Yeah.
and I guess like if you have more business experience, you've been through the path before, maybe it's easier. But you're right. There's ceilings. There's operations. There's systems that you need in place. Right. If you're a $3 million business, you can sort of BS your way through a million. I'm a huge engine driving forward, and so to give an analogy, like I was just such a big engine that I just bulldozed through those.
Yeah.
It was not fun. It was not pretty on the back end. I had Danielle, who was my right hand person in our business. She had started work. We had started working together. 2018, 19, something like that. And that was actually when I went off to college. She sort of took over the back end, bookkeeping, admin stuff, best hire. The amount of time I put into making her proficient was like a lot of hours. Point with that was I had a few people behind me that were able to take that sort of massive wake of destruction and like stuff, and just they were equally as stressed, and we bonded together as a team, and we just kept rolling forward. Where things really started, like once we hit that 3 million, we only went from 3 to 4 the next year, so we only grew 33%. But if we tried to grow anymore, we probably would have imploded.
Well, and like I feel like percentage, that's where dollar growth is more relevant. Percentage growth, like the paradigm changes because in certain stages of your business, the leaps aren't the same. Like what you're going through isn't the same. The investments aren't the same. The people that you need to get there aren't the same. So it's I always say, as much as I'm a finance guy and I look at everything in percentages, the bank doesn't actually accept percentages. They still take dollars.
Yep. So so that was we had basically turned off the growth. I said, okay, I still want to grow, but we're not going to like try to push for 100% growth anymore. 20 to 30%. Again, as you get to that larger revenue level, like we need time to put our systems together. And so that's what we focused on after that, is getting on a system. We got on a system called Aspire in 2021, which is a huge help. We were on Jobber prior to that. Aspire is extremely expensive relative to Jobber.
It's Service Titan, right? Like that is a brand of Service Titan.
They were just fully. They were originally, I think they were like 30% owned by Service Titan for a while, and then they just did a full buyout last year. So they're fully a Service Titan company now. And so that sort of brings me forward. So 2021, 2, 3, we bought a company in 2023, an irrigation business, 1.2 revenue, and then tucked that in. We bought that off of some really dry years and had really, really wet seasons after that, but it came with like a builder relationship and a few other things that was, sort of offset the lack of irrigation income that came the following 2 years. And then by that point in 2025, or spring of 2025, last year, we had a trailing 12 months of 5.4 million in revenue. And I was actually looking to acquire other companies. And that's when I ran into the people who we ended up selling to ultimately, partnership selling. I have to be careful in what I say about that right now for the exact reason I'll get into here. But basically did that, and should have done a little bit more research on the people that I did business with. And, I'm still working through the proper channels to get my money from.
I want to hit two things. One is Jason, shout out, says young entrepreneur, love it. And then I got producer man Jai in the house. Says, what's good? And then he says, you guys live on the radio too? And then I went, oh shit, I'm supposed to be live on the radio too. Jai, thanks for the heads up. I got us live. We have a radio app, and you can't make this up. It's called The Butt. That is the name of the radio app. So now we are live on The Butt. Thanks for the heads up, Jai. We're back live on Turfs Up Radio. So thanks for that, producer man Jai, everybody. That's why you need a podcast producers, because otherwise you're an idiot like me that can't remember.
This makes more sense. You got to check you're live on X, live on YouTube, live on everything.
Because there's just a lot, and I usually forget at least one, usually two things. So Jack, one thing, like when we were in CEO Roundtable together, which we haven't even talked about at all, but we at the time, like when you first came in, you were exiting, I'll say like a shadow partner. who
Yeah.
wasn't a partner, but kind of was, but there wasn't formal documentation, but there was
Mm-hmm.
verbal agreements or disagreements.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe this is just a thing you get yourself into is
Yeah.
weird
I think,
partnership things. But take us through that, because I think that was a really unique like problem solving situation that and as you were in the group too when I like was exiting a partnership and
yeah.
restarting. So we share this in common, but
Yes.
kind of retell that story of how that predicament started and kind of how you unwound it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did business with a guy that I was friends with throughout high school. Um, he and I, um, one of the things I appreciated about him at the time was, he and I disagreed politically pretty dramatically. And so we would have like pretty intellectual, great debates. He was one of the few that like was sort of another go-getter. And so I was like, hey, like, I need help on this, hiring labor. So that's the guy I went to Mexico City with. Um, we did that for, I think we were there for 4 or 5 weeks. We just lived in an Airbnb, and um, basically we had this like half page contract that basically said, I'm going to pay you this much for 6 months, or this much for 6 months, and then we'll figure it out after that. um well, 6 months came and went. We continued to work together. But around month 9 or so, he was back in college, so he was doing his college thing. um and I said, well, if you're going to go to college, like, I still need your help. Like, if I'm paying you, I still need to do your job. Um, and that just fell apart. Like, it became very clear very quick that like work wasn't getting done, and I was still paying. And so I fired him. And because there was a line at the bottom there that said, he would have like the following contract would have rights to 5% of the company if he like worked beyond the 6 months.
Yeah, if he performed the first contract, then the next contract would have equity rights.
Correct. And so basically I fired him, and he said, well, pay me you owe me 5% of the company. I said, no, I don't. Um, and I didn't. I mean, he damn near didn't know. I backtracked, throughout that whole, we didn't get into discovery because it wasn't worth it. But um, the truth of the matter, like, I'm pretty objective, right? If I'm wrong, I'll let you know. Um, the truth of the matter was, we blew past the contract. We never talked about it.
Never had a
He
second
stopped
contract.
performing.
Yeah.
I fired him. And so he came after me for that. And so when he came after me for that, you're now stuck with this decision of, okay, what's it going to cost to defend myself? I offered him 30 grand. That's actually what I actually owed him. So I offered him, and I said, I'll pay you 30 grand. We'll call it good. And then, like any good person, they say, screw you. I want more. Uh, and so now your new calculation is not what I actually owe you. It's what I owe you plus the amount of time, energy, and money it's going to cost for me to fight you and prove that I'm right.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
and so,
that human is banking on you doing that math because they don't actually want to go to court. They just want to get every dollar from you that they possibly can
and he
without
would have
tipping you
survived
past.
in court. The difference is I was growing a business at a pretty crazy rate, and like, the attorney basically said, like, you can do this, but you're going to spend 60, you're going to end up paying him 30 in 9 months,
Yeah, and you're going to waste
whatever it was.
$200,000 worth of your time.
Yeah, and the amount of administrative burden, everything that the team is going to have to come together and do during this period. Um, so we ended up settling. I wrote the check. Um, and that was a check. I've never hated writing a check more, and I've
Yeah,
also
that's
never.
pretty
And then
shitty.
I wrote it, and I just never thought about it again. So
Yep.
there's a psychological benefit to just getting rid of the things. Um, but to anyone who's been through legal stuff, um, apolitically, Trump as a business person, if you continue to just do that, people will just run over you. And so there is a balance there of, um, not just letting people do that. So that dissolved. I got resolved, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We continued to grow, and that ended up being a relatively. I mean, it was just shy of 6 figures worth of money, but
I'd say
it
it's
was.
like it's borderline it's impactful money, but it's not life-changing money, but it's
Yeah.
impactful enough where you're like, it's a fuck you level of money, not in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like
It
I'm
pissed
gonna
me off
lose.
because he didn't deserve it. Like I'm all
Yeah.
for paying people who deserve and like whatever. Um,
Yeah, you
the
could have
worst
taken
part
care
is
of
like,
good people. You could have taken care of good, hardworking people with that money instead of paid somebody who's trying to swindle you. And that's
well,
the frustrating part.
here's the deal. He was always talking about, and this is part of like, he would constantly talk about taking care of our people. He was very pro worker, pro, poor people and all these things. And he had his own political agendas with that. He actually was trying to like use this as a resume
Manipulate you.
building
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and yeah. So the worst part was the second that you know, all of those morals just disappear the second you want money. I was like, well,
Yeah.
I need to make payroll for these people. Like I got 15 families at the time. This is not just individuals, but I had 15 families that were relying on a paycheck from us. So, to just like 100 grand or less, to disappear from working capital, like, it ain't always easy. So, and that was my choice too, partially to not drag it out. Like I didn't want to do like 3-year payment terms. Part of it was I just wanted to get it done and be done with it. So, yeah, that was in 2023, 2022, something like that. Yeah. So he only worked for, 6-9 months, and then that ended almost on the 1-year anniversary of us starting to work together. So
Yeah, that's wild that like that it happened as fast as it did. But I
yeah.
guess kind of like true colors come out.
Well, you
I,
realize too, like when I work a lot. So I'm a workhorse, and I execute. So that's the difference. I don't sit here and tell you about it and then talk about it. Most likely I'll tell you, I'm doing something, and then I'll just show up with some receipts.
was gonna say
That's
then
my
it's
goal.
just done. By the time you were about to tell me about it, you'd already have it done. Like why
Yeah.
waste time talking about it if we know we're gonna do it? Let's just do it.
Hmm. So
I
yeah,
gotta give a shout out here to Teresa. My gal is in the house.
sweet.
So just finished dinner. Thought I'd sit down with Dan.
There you
Thanks,
go.
thanks for
Welcome.
checking in, Teresa. So I didn't realize, like I knew you had exited. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that you had another partnership that started up. What was to the
Yeah.
extent that you can talk about it, when and how and why did you get into another partnership deal?
Yeah. So really, where I was at is I wanted to buy other companies. What we needed is like I was saying earlier, like I was a massive engine pulling, but we had a massive weight of a business, meaning the bigger you get, the more people, the less flexible you are. And we're still flexible. It's $5 million company. It's not a massive company.
Yeah, you can still
Um,
change what you're doing tomorrow if you want. Just
yeah,
gotta get a few more heads aligned. But
exactly. But I needed more people like me to take over and truly delegate and trust people to like take things. We had really a great team, and in hindsight, I'm realizing how great our team was. Because for me, I'm always pushing the envelope. So I'm always pushing our team like we need to go do better, work harder, etc., um, or smarter. And so I was looking for certain individuals. We used something called the Culture Index, which is we ran on EOS as well. So EOS, and then our EOS implementer met a guy who did this Culture Index thing. And to be frank, I loved it. Culture Index helped us restructure our company, was helping us, be more efficient, get people in the right seats, but more importantly, understand who people are. So what Culture Index did was say, we had Robin in our office, who is awesome, right? But she operates differently than Danielle does. Certain people need a list. Like if I give, um, one of our office people, if I give her just a list, she'll execute that list like that, right? But if you ask them to like find out what they should do, like if you just say, "Hey,
yeah,
try to like get to
build a
this point
process for this.
and build
Figure
a
out an
process,"
answer. Yeah.
it's not going to happen. They'll crumble.
Yep.
Um, it, those people are like, "Hey, I need like these 12 things done," and then just do them, right? There's no harm, no foul in that, but that's just how they operate.
Yep.
Some people you can say, "Hey, I
Execution
need you to,"
folks.
exactly, like, and other people you can say, "Hey, I need you to get this result, and like here's like some pathway of thought, like I'm thinking to get there, and then they can take it and run with it and make it happen. Other people are, everyone's got their own personality. So that's what Culture Index helped with. And so I ended up running into these individuals that I ended up selling to, and they had profiles that lined up with the profiles that I needed, at the time I thought I needed. And had the profiles themselves were absolutely correct. So I needed those people, and I said, well, we're at 5 million. I want to go to 50. And if you're going to go to 50 from 5, you need more engines pulling the train. You need more people who can independently think, execute on their area of the business without your constant oversight. And so that's really like the premise for why I did the deal. And I gave up a lot of upside with the idea that we were building something bigger together. So I was like, well, yes, I will give up this. I will give up, this piece of upside in order to, have a solid start to this partnership XYZ. And
how long and how long did you know these guys for? Where did you connect with them?
Long. That's here's the caveat. My business advice is make sure you know who you're doing business with, because very quickly, I unfortunately, after I signed papers, I figured out who I was doing business with. And at that point, you're now tied to a contract. So
can I hold on? I have the best piece of advice. It might be the best piece of advice I've ever gotten. Maybe it's the best nugget that's ever been dropped on this here podcast.
Yeah.
About partnerships. And I know there's somebody's in there with you. Is that Danielle, or there's not Danielle?
Oh, someone's in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's over there? Because they're gonna like
Megan.
this one. Megan's gonna
like
this.
Headphones. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Megan's gonna like this one. This is like the best for partnership. Like here's the level you need to be at. This was dropped on me as I was like getting out of my last partnership. It was right here on this podcast. My buddy goes, if you're going to get into a partnership with somebody, you need to trust that they would be naked next to your naked significant other and they wouldn't fuck them. And I was like,
It's funny. That's a great piece, and I'm sure I'll probably eat some.
It'll come back to you. There's gonna be a point in time where you're gonna be like,
let's just say that I'm having the one person I wouldn't trust is the one I'm having issues with that. The other two, to be frank, I would trust that. So the one problem, because most of this is being driven not by the I gotta be careful what I say. This is not being driven by the two younger guys that I was going to do business with.
yeah.
This is being driven by a different individual. So I'll keep it at that, because I'm sure he'll find a way to bring this up in our next settlement agreement.
Smart.
Or I just take it straight to discovery, and we, here's the other part that I think is fascinating, is that, like, going through these experiences too, you realize that everything is just fugazi until you actually get through discovery. And so whatever the contract says, so my piece of advice is, or my lesson learned is, you cannot do business. You can't do a good deal with bad people, and you can't do a bad deal with good people. And so what that really means is, it doesn't matter what's on paper, right? If you have good people on both sides, you can sit down at a coffee table and figure out what happened. If you don't, right? If you have people with
lack of integrity.
I'll let you say it. There we go. It can be challenging to reconcile even the most obvious things. And I say this because, the lawsuit's on public record. So if you want to go read it, you can read it. So it's not great, but I have also taken so many lessons from this experience that, while yes, it's cost me a lot of money so far, and I'm sure it will continue to do so, depending on where we end up. And of course, I certainly hope we can find a middle ground and get there soon. But the overall lessons that I've pulled from this, I think I will become a much better business person because of it. And I've had many business lessons that have cost me, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, right? And you just keep having bigger problems. So, but you can't have bigger problems if you're not doing bigger things. So, if you have $1 million problem, there's probably a reason you got $1 million problem. You had a reason. You did something big enough to have $1 million problem. So
Yeah, you got to the table where $1 million problems exist.
exactly, right. And now you sit down at this poker table, you play, you learn, and then you move to the next one. So the goal now is not to not to necessarily learn these same expensive lessons. There's going to be lessons, right? Like the whole
Oh,
point of learning a lesson is you didn't know what it was
you just
before.
don't want to
So
learn the same one. You don't want to learn the same one another time.
yeah,
I
correct.
threw Jason's comment up here. He says, "This young entrepreneur has a lot of knowledge for a young man. Keep grinding, brother. You become a big inspiration on a lot of people. Thank you for what you're doing, man." Well
Yeah.
said, Jason. And Alicia Price. Alicia, how you doing? Alicia's
What's
checking
up?
in. It is crazy because it's like you can't anticipate all the time the places you're going to end up and the problems that you're going to have to solve. And it does feel like the minute you solve a problem, you naturally create a new one or a bigger
Yeah.
one, because that's all that's waiting for you when you get past this problem is you're not going to stop,
Yeah.
right? You're
And
going to keep pushing and keep finding new things and finding new problems to solve.
yeah, and one of the things too, like when you look back, is like, what did you really take from this experience? And I move fast. I move fast in every aspect of my life. Um, but there are very few times where you really need to slow down. And when you're doing a transaction like this, selling 13 years of your life and a whole company with, Frank, again, we had 35 employees. We had a lot of people, that we had a strong culture. We had amazing people on our team, and I should have consulted, slowed down, told them more about it, um, and proceeded, as a team decision. I can make the final decision, but um, especially the girls on our team had an incredible ability to suss out good and bad people. Meaning, usually, like within the first 3 weeks of
Females have a
hiring
way
someone,
better gauge of that stuff. Females
I,
just
I kid
have
you not,
their
they're like
spidey sense.
almost they're shooting like 100 for like, if we had hired someone, they're like, I really don't like this person. Like, they wouldn't be with our company very long because they were not only a great culture fit, but they were a great filter and feedback for the culture. And so um, I skipped and I didn't use my normal filters during this, right? I didn't have my parents meet the people I was doing business with. I didn't have my attorney meet them, right? And so I moved so quickly through this thing because I wanted the results
You
so
were looking
bad.
at 50 million. You
Exactly.
were busy looking at 50.
Yeah, right. And in that process, you expose yourself to what in hindsight is a lot of obvious failures or a lot of obvious things that are um, not correct. So those are a lot of the business, lessons that I've learned, and so we're figuring that out now, and we'll see where we end up.
It's pretty incredible learning those lessons when you're 26 with that size of business and that size of problem, like you said. Because most people never even get to that size of problem, much less like get there when they're in their 20s and they still have the energy and the grit, and they don't have kids and sports and school and all the stuff that goes on with a family. You're learning, you're getting an education that 99.99999% of people never even know exists. So
Yeah,
it's
and
astounding in a way.
I have to be thankful for it too, because my perspective on the world is wildly different than it has been, right? So every one of these experiences, I make this joke all the time, but I feel 40, like, because I feel like I've had 40 years of life lived. When I go back and like look at the amount of sales calls or meetings I've done, I've met like 20,000 people in my day. There's points where I was doing 40 meetings a week. Like, you learn to anticipate how people are thinking, where they're going, especially, I mean, if you're doing the same type of meeting 40 times a week. Um, you know what people like, you start to streamline things. Um, but even through these other situations, like, those core principles of like, can't do a bad deal with good people, et cetera, et cetera. Um, you look at life differently. You realize that not everything's sunshine and rainbows, and the legal system is just daddy and mommy for two adults that can't figure shit out. So
That's a good
that's all
point.
it is. And
Point.
by the way, you and I could you and I could sit down at a coffee table and figure it out. But the second someone doesn't want to figure it out, you got to resort to
Yeah,
mommy and daddy.
they throw tantrums and they kick and scream and make it as difficult as possible. And they're an adult with money, and so they can do things to make it more difficult just by their nature. So
Yeah, they can just they literally can figuratively kick the can down the road, not indefinitely, but like you just have to have someone and I would say I'm that person. I have an extremely high pain tolerance. Like, you want to do this, let's do it. Like I know that like on the merits of the situation, I'm in the right. Like, if I'm not right, I'm not going to go to the fight, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna settle before I'm gonna get rid of it. Like, so there's a lot of things that just like you learn that you got to stick to your principles. You got to keep moving forward. um, you know People will try to do what they can to shut you down and stop you. And to be frank, with those type of people, you just realize that they're missing something else in their life that I'm not going to begin to speculate and say specifics, but um, I fulfill what I need without money, without things, right? I run, I work out, I have a great life. um, and I do that independent of needing things from other people. And so when you need that, and I have self control, I can control what I do with my life and I put into my body. And those are the base principles that when you're dealing with people who can't do that, you realize that they'll come after you to try to, because they're unhappy and unable to control themselves.
yeah.
And
They gotta express it outward. They gotta come take you
yeah,
down.
right. And because they haven't done something themselves, they have to come after you. And this is not just talking about one situation or another. This is I've had customers do
It's
this.
a human
Like,
behavior. It's an animalistic behavior.
yeah, you have a customer that's pissed off at you. Like, I just did your landscaping. Like, life's not that serious. Like, so
We had a customer just do that this weekend, and I fired him. I was just like, "Yeah, you gone.
yeah,
I don't need
you
your
gotta,
money.
yeah,
I don't need shitty people's money. Just not dealing
yeah,
with shitty people. Not
yeah.
happening."
I sort of joke is like I in 2024, 25, we had our worst customer I've ever dealt with. And we're talking like 10, 15,000 customers, or at least, yeah, customers, and then plus whatever interactions I've had above and beyond that. Um, and I was like, wow, like I didn't know someone could be this debased from reality. And um, I've met my match on this. I continue to level up my interactions with people and find someone who's find the people in the rough. And so part of that self-reflection too is like, how did I get in these situations too? So
Yeah, what's
you
our
have to analyze
filtering
that.
system that we let a person like this into
Yeah.
our work?
Yeah, right. And I try to do business on good merits, and you sort of raise Midwest. You assume the best in people, and so you operate on um, those principles and those merits. And those are really easy to get taken advantage of, especially if you have someone who's shark in the water and they're looking for that stuff. um, I've done a lot of reflection and understood exactly how I gave off that type of um, vibe, whatever you want to call it. Like, when you give off a certain vibe, you're struggling fish, or you're so focused over here, they'll swoop in and they'll say, well, I'll eat your backside because
Yep.
you're so focused over here. So a lot of good principles, a lot of good lessons being learned, and we'll be better, bigger, better, and smarter because of it.
Do you have a timeline for like I assume it sounds like you're fully out of the business now just by the
Mhm.
current situation, like it turned into a buyout basically?
Yeah, it was on paper it was an asset purchase. So it might have been advertised as a partnership, but it was an asset purchase on paper.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
um, I resigned August 1st of 25,
Yeah.
and then have since been trying to reconcile the contract. So yeah, I'll
So
keep it like that.
yeah, so what now? Obviously you're exercising like crazy and doing the fitness thing. Do you have
Yep.
another business that you've started? Do you have a business in mind that you want to work on? Will you ever go back into the green industry, or are you like F that space, that's sour, I'm gonna go do
Yeah.
other stuff?
I'll tell you what I'll tell you what one of the things I'm doing today. Most of what I'm doing today, you'll figure out later. Um, uh, I've started Pistachio. So Pistachio is a technology company that solves one of the core issues that we had. And Pistachio, what it does is it allows you to order all of your services online. So as a service business, if you want to get lawn mowing, irrigation, we can, any lawn care service, there's no way to order that online, pay and check out like you would on Amazon. There's no software or anything out there that does that and allows that interface.
Mhm.
And now with the AI that has come out and has been around for a little bit, but hasn't really been as prevalent. We've created a technology where you can plug your address in, and then it will automatically measure your property, it'll measure your turf, the amount of tree square footage, pavement, etc. And then it will go through an algorithm and then kick out pricing. So you can then choose a package, choose individual services, and then by the time you're done with that flow, you've checked out. The contractor has gotten a message saying, "Hey, Dan Plata at 123 Main Street has ordered these 5 services," and then to the customer it says, "Congratulations, welcome to uh, best damn bookkeeping team
Is it
or
is it
the
a
family."
specific, like, when they are checking out, is it a specific contractor's pricing that they're deciding on? Like, do they have options, or is it just like, this is what it is and the contractor's already predetermined? How does that
Yeah.
interaction work?
So um, we preload services based on square footage, and then we're working on things that add another layer of dynamic pricing. So right now, like you've been able to order mowing online for a long time. It's a
Yeah.
simple square footage times some production rate equals your price. That's really easy. What gets really challenging is how do you create recurring revenue? So we've created packages in the way that the pricing and the payments are structured. Number two is spring and fall cleanup, right? Spring and fall cleanup for leaves and yards. Um, you can't just square footage, right? You can't just if someone has 2 trees or 20 trees, it's not a square footage issue at this
Yeah,
point. It's a tree coverage issue times the lot size, and so you have to take multiple different components into um, consideration. And so that's what we've done is we've created algorithms that do that. And so you give us part of the onboarding process is you give us your baseline pricing. So we send you over, structured data sheet that you fill out, and then we put that in, and then we apply the algorithms and the pricing matrix accordingly.
hell yeah. Is it green industry only right now, or do you go into other spaces like pressure washing?
It's
What
green industry only right now, but it's the only reason it's that right now is because I need to stay focused. If I don't stay focused, it's going to be
gets big real
yeah.
fast.
Yeah, and I'd love to come back on here, once everything's settled down, and I can tell you, exactly what I'm doing. This is just one piece of the puzzle of what I'm doing, and it's available to contractors today at pistachio.app. By the way, pistachio has 2 C's intentionally. The reason it's called pistachio, though, is I was in New York when I was talking with the developer, and he's like, "What do you want to call this thing?" I was like, I looked to my left, and the the felt on the coffee shop benches is like a
Nice,
pistachio green.
nice light green. Nice light
Yeah,
green.
that's exactly. And I was like, let's just call it pistachio. Let's do it.
That
So,
sounds great.
so
Pistachio sounds great.
yeah, so doing that now. That's the main venture, and everything else I can't speak on right now. But that's sort of the main thing that I'm working on right now. Love to get some more customers. We have our first set of customers, and we have one more set of like probably 5 customers that we want to onboard. This is a new technology, and so we want to test it out. People who sign up today will get a better deal than they would in 6 months. Um, and the goal is for us to learn too. We got improvements on every tech platform that we gotta make as we have it pushed through different iterations and different issues. So I'm super excited for that, and we get to figure out the next layer of technology, and we got a lot of fun things coming with the new AI enablement, just with where the technology is today. We're moving fast on that end. So um,
I have 2 quick things, Jack. One is,
mhm.
Rob, you're in my personal chat. You got to go all the way up to the top of that, click on the pinned link and go put your comment on the screen, because that comment deserves to be shown on the screen. But you're in my personal feed, so I can't show it on the screen until you go put it on the Best Damn Bookkeeping Live version of this. So get it out there, because everybody needs to see that. It's important. Jack, you need to have you ever heard of Live Switch?
I have not. No.
I need to introduce you to James Hatfield over at Live Switch. He has a very complimentary software, and the guy's a fucking genius. You and him would, you guys would go run circles around each other. It'd be hilarious. He does basically like a reverse FaceTime and builds it in as like a online bidding thing. So you don't need to go visit a property. It's basically like company cam on steroids. And there's some AI built in for problem solving stuff, but seems ridiculously complimentary to what you guys are doing and like building. So be interesting to connect with him. You guys would freaking nerd out all over the place.
It's fun. And part of this too is like the journey of learning AI and everything like that. It's you dig into it and it's not very complex. Like it's basically a computer brain that mimics the human brain, right? If I'm going to teach you something, I need to, the difference is you have life experience and you have logic that can, solve problems, right? When you're teaching AI, like you have to treat it like a 2-year-old that has no idea anything. At the same, at a certain point, they're the
It has
smartest thing
access
ever,
to everything, but can't reason
but
with
they're
it.
the dumbest thing. Yeah, it's like the smartest thing ever, but also the dumbest at the same time. And so you have to put those you have to put the guardrails up. You have to be specific of what you do want, what you don't want, context around the situation, and that's just like standard prompt engineering. And AI just on a fundamental level is doing the same things we already do, just way faster. Like if we want to analyze data, we can analyze the data, but this will do it 1,000 times faster than we might be able to, or come to conclusions, or do that in seconds instead of minutes. And then agents are the big thing. Oh, there it is.
I got Rob's commentary in here. It gets big real fast. Hashtag that's what she said. Actually, Dan said.
It can. Hopefully it does. No.
Then he said, "Did I do it right this time?" Hashtag that's what she said. Part 2. Very good, Rob. Very good, Rob. Yeah, that's more my speed. Did I do it right this time? That sounds more like something I would say. Maybe that's more of it. That's what he said. Less of it. That's what she said. That might be it.
Exactly.
That's exciting stuff, man. Is like, do you view yourself? I mean, having like, and maybe this is me projecting my own past on you, but I had lots of years and reps in the home service space, and then realized I'm probably most useful helping a bunch of home service business owners on the thing that I am the most nerdy at, which is the finance stuff. Do you feel like this is kind of like a new pathway for you? That's like, hey, I've obsessed about home services and I know that in and out. I understand the business models. I understand the recurring stuff, the one-time stuff. Maybe the software and AI space is a better area for me to make a bigger impact.
It is,
in a different way.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying is like, right, you can only make so much. My next chapter, right? I closed chapter 1. I'm still, trying to close it, but I basically closed chapter 1 of my life, and I opened up chapter 2, which has different learnings, different principles.
More exercise, more physical, maybe more physical exercise,
less stress and more exercise. So two great things. But yeah, absolutely that. Like I want to make a bigger impact. And how do you do that? You can't make a bigger impact by, working inside a company. I think that's still extremely important as far as like I want to build another organization, because I think it's incredibly fun to do. I just like building. Some people build houses, some people build trinkets in their basement. I like building businesses, right? And it's because it's so dynamic. I felt like the round 1, I got so many lessons, and now I get to take those lessons. They cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars and years, and now I get to help others. So I have a few consulting clients I help with, different things. I have the pistachio technology, which again is to help, sort of goes in conjunction sometimes with some of the contractors that are on it. Is like some of them don't know how to price things, right? They don't understand pricing. And that's what like
Many don't. Many
many
don't.
don't. Like they're like, is this too high? And they're like charging like someone was charging, way too little for a lawn, right? And it's like, no, no, no. Like this is where the market's at. Like you can charge 40% more, and then you're at market. Like,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
then
you're
you
not
have
high of the market. You're at average of the market then.
one. And by the way, you're like, I can tell you without knowing anything else about your business that you're losing money or you're better off working at Quick Trip. Like, you're not. You're if you're charging that amount, like you could go to Quick Trip and make $22 an hour, and you're netting less than $22 an hour with that price. And so, and by the way, you're not just sitting there checking people out. You're doing something that requires more,
Yeah, you're working your ass out. You're
logistics.
stressed off. You're probably jeopardizing
Yeah,
your marriage or your parenting or whatever else you got going on because you're never home and you're not making any money working as hard as you are.
yeah. And so I basically identified what were some of the biggest issues we had, and started to create solutions for those. And they are hyper specific and extremely detailed because I had the issue. The tools and the things I'm creating are not because I was sitting at a bar and I thought of it. Like, oh, I thought this is an issue, and maybe I should try to go solve it. Like, it's like I know the intricacies of exactly what I'm solving, why I'm solving it. And part of it is people aren't there yet. And so you actually have to educate them on like, you're going to run into this issue. This tool helps you solve this issue today. So you don't run into the issue tomorrow, or it allows you to achieve your goals quicker.
You don't sit
Um,
in that purgatory just going in
mhm,
freaking spin cycle forever.
correct. Yeah. And so that's um, one of the things I love doing is helping other people. And actually, like part of it too is you to validate everything that you've learned, um, and give it another rep, right? Like at some point, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone's meant to grow like we did, or some people are really happy at 250, 500,000, $1 million, and that's awesome, right? But then the next question is, how do you do that in a great way, right? So that may change the advice, but like most of it's still in the same principles. We just want to make sure you're going to meet your goals however you like. We want to make sure if you want to grow to 10 million, like, okay, then you expect a lot of suffering, right? Like over what timeline? If you want to go 10 million over 20 years, like you're probably not going to have to suffer too much. You'll be fine. You go a little bit, you're going to learn some lessons, get some structure in place. You're going to have a legacy. You're going to have 20 years of being in business by that point. Um, that's going to be a lot easier than trying to, jam from 780 to 5 million in 4 years. Um, and so acknowledging the facts of the situation, the desires, and trying to put that picture together as best you can for the people, which includes, doing a lot of, asking questions, and first of all, clarifying what they want. Oftentimes, they don't even know.
I'm presenting. I guess I have a workshop tomorrow, but then I present on Thursday. And when I restarted bookkeeping and basically like started back from zero,
Yeah,
which is
that
just a
was in this.
weird feeling after you work so hard at something to be like, oh, here I am again. Now we're
Hmm.
doing this over again. And in hindsight, like 2 years later, we have 25 people on the team. Like we're building something faster, bigger, better. Like I'll say more profitable, but I really don't care about that. Like to me, that's the
Yeah,
result. Like, we're building something more impactful that's more helpful to the clients and better for the employees. Like we're doing it in a better way that's more fun, sustainable, bigger impact. So sometimes like starting over gives some benefit, but it definitely does suck. But you just get a whole lot of clarity. And I remember like I think I was still in CEO Roundtable as I was discussing this and really like trying to hone in on why am I doing this? Like,
yeah,
what's the purpose of it? What is the true goal? Because I'm for a finance guy, I'm ridiculously not motivated by money.
yeah,
Like, it's a result to me, but it's not a reason. Like, we don't have a revenue goal. We don't have a profit goal. I do
yeah,
not give a shit. Our goal is to not lose any clients. If we don't
yeah.
lose any clients, we're doing something right.
You're
And
sort of like the banana baseball guy, right? It's like
the Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas. Right. And to be fair, like again, when you do prioritize, and I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between someone who prioritizes their clients, like the rest will come, right? Everything else will show up, the profit, the revenue. So you're so focused on the client and the client's needs, like they're going to pay you money because you're great at what you do. Um, and I'm very financially oriented and stuff like that, but you're exactly right. Like I'm obsessed over the customer service aspect of the business because that's all we are. Like there's 1,000 landscape companies. I mean, there's thousands, right? There's thousands of power washing, plumbing, handyman, all. So the least you can do is make it really easy for them to do business with you, and then knock it out of the park with when they do have a problem, you solve it and you solve it well with a smile, and you give them the solution. When they call you and they complain, they're calling you because they want the solution from you. They're not calling because if they the people who don't want to work with you are the people who call another company, have them do the work, and then call you later and say, "Hey, here's the bill for the work that you screwed up on."
Yep.
That's 98% of people call you first, and they say, "I just want you to fix my damn problem."
Yeah.
And if you do that, like,
This is what didn't go right. I need
yeah,
help. Fix the
don't
thing.
don't give me your fucking roundabout answer. Excuse my language, but like, don't give me a roundabout
Well,
answer of
we swear on this show. This is a bar. Can't you
sweet.
tell this is a bar? We can swear in the bar. We swear in the bar.
Sweet. I need a drink. No, I'm just,
I got a diet beer here. I got a Coors Light.
diet.
Give me a diet beer. The mountains are blue.
You got a super diet beer, fully clear.
Pretty much the same thing as what I'm drinking. Pretty much the
Actually,
same. Mine's carbonated. Mine's carbonated.
carbonated. Actually, yeah, it's funny because beer sometimes is cheaper than water, which I think is actually hilarious. Um, I'm like, well,
Can be. It's
yeah,
just some good ass water. This is
there you
tainted
go.
water. Could be some good ass water you got.
Exactly. There you go. But yeah, that sort of sums up the where I was, what I'm doing, where I'm going is under wraps right now. But um, be happy to get back on once everything's wrapped up and give you.
I was gonna say we have to do a version 2.0, and like when you're in a spot where you can talk about it, like I would
Yep.
love to hear the updated version of it. Like get the full story of it. I obviously understand like you can't lay it all out for us. And like there's just gonna be more lessons, right? And I think the whole point of this podcast is in a fun bar situation sort of way. Cause like and truthfully, like for all of you guys that catch us later listening on the podcast, like the idea behind the show is always unscripted, authentic. If Jack and I were sitting at a bar right now, just like this one, this is exactly the conversation we would have. I don't know that anything would happen differently. And like that's raw and it's real, and that's where you learn the best stuff. You don't learn it sitting in a lecture hall. You learn it from business owners talking about business stuff and all the shit they did wrong.
And this isn't on the advertising, right? This isn't like what you post about and you make like fun, oh my God, things are going great. Like, no, there's a lot of shit in people's lives that isn't how it is on the internet. And then I like to be transparent about that because yes, while I've had many, many successes and financially, you know, have had, relative for my age, but in a good place, like there's a lot of shit that comes along with that. Like this isn't like a I just casually worked 9 to 5 for 12 years and like showed up with a beautiful exit. Like there's a lot more nuance beyond that. So, and I think
you worked your ass off for more than a decade and ran into a shitty exit.
There you go.
Very non like celebratory exit, like a painful exit.
Yeah, and it's cool to tell everyone that you sold your company, and to be fair, it's validating on one side, but like the reality of the situation on the other side is like I haven't actually seen the benefit of doing that yet. Like I haven't. I am not on a beach right now. Like I am not doing the things that I would love to have done. Now, to be fair, I traveled a bunch afterwards, mainly because the first time I had like some freedom of time. But
since you were 13 skiing and you were like, I need to do something with my life.
Yeah, right. It's like so. There's positives and negatives. I think it's a lot of it's how you look at it, and you work through things, you work through the truth, and at the end of the day, I can go to bed, rest easy, knowing that I'm doing and I've done what is one, what I promised the world I would do, two, what I said I would do, and when that equation doesn't equal out, you gotta pull out of it and reconcile it. So
make a change. Rob, are you gonna make a comment when you just said pull out? Because like I feel like you made jokes about what I said. Are you gonna make a pull out joke? Rob did chime in and said drinking beer and learning stuff. That could be the motto of the show. sunshine and shit
shows. I
That,
like
that
that. Honestly, it's not all sunshine and shit. Or maybe it is all sunshine
it
and
is all
shit shows.
sunshine and shit shows. I think that hits the mark. And it like we're 2 years in and we're crossing the like we did 100,000 and we're like at the 1.2 pace. And we're at that spot where like everything in your business breaks. And I just keep telling our team, it's like, we just got to break. We're just going to break it all. We're going to break it all because we have to fix it all anyway. Like with everything we have, our org chart right now isn't the org chart at 1.5 million. I know that. Like we have different roles. Some of the people are right. Some of the people are wrong. Some of the systems are right. Some of the systems are wrong. There's so much shit that we need to break right now. And it is already broken that got us here that we need to fix. And so like, yes, it's painful. And if you don't like pain and suffering and growing stuff, you probably just don't want to be here. Like this probably isn't going to be for you because like, we just got like, this is the point in our business where we just got to fight through this quicksand and get to the next phase and the next set of problems. But this set of problems is a painful one.
Yeah, no, it's, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I think like I live under pressure. That's part of what you see with the exercise is like, today was a fun day running, but like there's a lot of workouts where you just sit there and you just want to quit for an hour. Like for an hour straight, you're just like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And that's what life is, right? The more pain you put yourself through voluntarily, the less that the involuntary pain hurts.
Yeah, as I say, like, and sometimes involuntary pain is the best lesson because
absolutely.
you didn't have a say, right? You just had to grin and bear it. And it's like, I didn't choose this, but I'm in the middle of it. When you're in the middle of it, there's only one way. It's the same reason you run out and then like, shit, now I got to run back. Like,
totally, yeah.
There's nowhere, like, unless you're like calling an Uber, you're just going to go back and you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I've had those moments. I've had plenty of those moments actually. Of you're just shit out of luck. You're halfway away from home, and you ain't got anywhere to go, and you gotta figure it out, right? But part of that too is in life and the situations you run into is like, what have you done to have the tools to deal with those things that are like when you have the involuntary suffering? What have you pulled from all of the voluntary suffering that can make it easier to go through that and deal with the unknowns? And I think that's, exercise, in my opinion, exercise is a fantastic way to help with that. If you're, especially when you're going through any sort of tough situation in life or business.
Heck yeah. I'm going to close it
out. Beer
out.
also can get you there.
Rob says, people see the sunshine, we create and suffer through the shit shows.
There you go.
That is the truth. Jack, I should probably get going. I got to get up in like 6 hours here and go catch a flight and go speak at a conference and then fly back and then fly out the next day for spring break. It's a little down back type of thing.
There you go. That's exciting.
But I appreciate you jumping on, catching up. It was super good to see you. Let us know as your whatever you want to call it unwinds and comes to closure, and let's catch up again and learn some more lessons from you.
I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Good to see you again. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. Home service homies, business nerds, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. Catch you next time.
All right.